So it's my great pleasure to introduce Sandra Jeffs, the special guest speaker this weekend at our state treat. Sandra is a fighter, a two-time cancer survivor, a survivor of her own addiction, of one of her son's addictions, plus her husband's addiction and subsequent suicide. She has had 3 near-death experiences and has a committed meditation practice with a strong personal spiritual practice and a healing practice. Sandra is a worldwide traveler, has lived in 2 different countries for 13 years, and is a lifelong learner, a seeker of truth. Sandra writes fiction and poetry. All of her writing is about or informed by her experiences of finding strength, healing, perseverance, and the beauty in the world and in humanity. She writes from the heart with vivid imagery and a goal to inspire the reader to find transcendence, self-love, compassion, and an avenue towards living an intentional life. When one lives an intentional life, one stops being at the whim of events and begins to create one's highest and best life. Jazz hands for Sandra, please.
Should I go? Should I begin?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Thank you for that introduction very much. I practice Black Sect Feng Shui, and I've been practicing for over 26 years. To get certified, I had to go through a rigorous 3-year training. So at this point in my Feng Shui career, I consider myself a master. And a lot of people think feng shui is about furniture arrangement, it's about fashion. Well, feng shui really is about understanding the energy that is around us, that really is everything. That's every rock, every chair, every house, every person is just energy. So when I practice feng shui, my goal is to assist the person to become aware of what their intentions are for their life, and then connect those intentions with the energy of their dwelling, their environment, whether it's their workplace, office, or whether it's their home, to arrange the energy and become aware of the energy, and having the energy flow to be supportive, and to be in harmony and balance for your life goals and for the life that you live. So for writers, this is really important because when we're writing, we're tapping into energy. That's what happens in the creative writing process. And it doesn't matter whether you write nonfiction or fiction, whether you write political writings or memoirs, it's all the creative process, and that's what writing is. So what I'd like to do today, I have a really short time. Usually this talk, I have about 2 hours to do, and that gives me a lot of time for questions and to go into some detail about it. So I'm going to be a little bit more service than I am, but my goal is to leave you with 3 things that you can do. Maybe not, you can do them immediately. They may take a little bit of time, but that can dramatically improve your writing and your ease with your writing. So it's really important to define your writing purpose. Sometimes when I work with writers with feng shui or as an editor, they don't really know their purpose or their motivation or their intention for writing it. They just thought it was a good idea and they feel compelled to do it. So the first thing that I ask people to do is, if you don't know what your writing process is now, sit down and take some time to analyze what is your writing process. And the reason I say this is I went through my bachelor's degree in literature, and I took a lot of creative writing classes, and then I got an MFA in creative writing. And I graduated with my MFA in June of '86. In June of 1990, I went back to college to get my degree in teaching literature and writing. The first class I had that summer was how to teach writing, and the first assignment they gave us was write an essay about your writing process. No one in the whole 6 years before that had ever asked me that. And I realized as I was writing this that I had been trying to fit my wildly outrageous soul into this really square box of how you have to write. And there's nothing wrong with that square box. A lot of people fit into it and it works really well for a lot of people. It didn't work for me. And the box was that you get your idea, you do whatever research you need to do, and then you do an outline and then you write. Well, it didn't work for me, whether I was writing creative fiction or whether I was writing an essay or, it didn't work for me. I'd find that I'd start and then I'd kind of get stuck. And then when the deadline approached, suddenly I'd have this outpouring and I'd be working all night to finish things. And when I did this essay in 1990, what I realized, because I had been self-back talking about I was a procrastinator, I had writer's block, all of these negative things. I didn't have writer's block and I wasn't a procrastinator. What I am as a writer is I need a percolation time. Sometimes I can sit down and it'll just pour out. But basically, if I'm writing, especially if I'm working on a novel or something important, it needs time to percolate for me. And when I finally get to that point and I start writing, I'm quite obsessed with it. And I forget about time, forget about eating, I forget about sleeping. So I fit in, I'm a wildly different writer. So in 1986, when I started studying Feng Shui, I realized that I needed to understand how to set up my writing desk and my writing area with Feng Shui purposes so that my writing flowed really well for my writing purpose, for my writing process. And it's also important that when you write different things, when I write poetry, when I write fiction, when I write nonfiction, I need different things around me, different things that will inspire me in different ways. So as you listen to me today, I hope you start thinking about what your writing process is, what inspires you, and surround yourselves with those things. So a writer's chi, our energy, has to find a balance that will positively influence her or his creativity. That's really important. The first thing I tell any client, Feng Shui client, is to declutter and clean, do a deep cleaning with the intention of what you want to have shift in your life, or I say enhance in your life. We already have everything that we need inside. It's just bringing it to the forefront and enhancing it. If someone comes to me and wants a complete whole house consult in Feng Shui, I ask them if they're a clutter bug, how much clutter do they have? They say they have a lot. I say, go home, declutter. If you can't do it on your own, find somebody to help you, and then see what shifts in your life, and then decide if you really need me to come in. Only about 10% of them call me back because either they haven't done the decluttering or they found huge shifts. Just decluttering and organizing your area, your writing room, your desk will create immense release of the energy. Clutter is about stuck energy. It can be a poverty consciousness because we're holding on to things that we think we might need later. We're holding on to things because we don't want to take the time to organize it and put it where it needs to be. So creating a mindset where you want to sit down at your desk every day when you start to write and have it open and inviting and clear of clutter. And decluttering means no clutter under your desk, because it's important to have room for you to stretch your legs out. That stretching helps to open the chi centers in your body and get the energy flowing. It's important that if you have drawers in your desk, that you also organize them and keep them decluttered. And it's important that you're not a freak about it, that you're so clean that you can't find things when you need it, and that you don't do bad self talk when clutter starts to accumulate. It is natural for us to have clutter accumulate. It's clutter, though, only when it's overwhelming, when there's too much and you can't find what you need because of it. So, my goal is at the end of my day, when I'm leaving my desk, is to just put things away and just organize and straighten things up. If I find that I've got too many things on my desk, then once a week I'll examine it and see where it is. So, also deep cleaning. Sometimes, if you haven't done a deep cleaning in the office that you use, if you're lucky enough to have a whole office or the area where you work, that can also open up the chi, because uh, cleanliness is really important for our energy and it's important for our health. We need to stay healthy as writers so that our energy and our chi is flowing strongly and we can easily get the ideas out from our brain and our heart and our soul onto the paper clearly and concisely, so that we're conveying the message that we strive to achieve. So, doing this will bring in that vital chi, which helps with your clarity, with your creativity, your focus, and with the comfort as you sit at your desk. Also, declutter your desktop on your computer or your laptop. When you have too many open files all over your desktop, it's harder to find things. So it's better to make folders and put things in the appropriate folder for your desktop, especially most of the people I know, most writers know, use their computer or their laptop for multiple things. And as writers, we also have a business, so we have to do the business side of writing as well, the marketing and the accounting for our business. So putting those in folders really help. The other thing I found really helpful for, and if you don't know about it, there's an app, a free app, you can get it for free, called Evernote, where if you find things that are important to remember, instead of printing it out by paper and putting it on your desk or in folders, or putting it on your desktop, Evernote will capture it and you can put it in a folder for writing tips, or editors or whatever it is, under a folder like that, so that you can easily find it. You don't have to download it and it doesn't have to be sitting on your desktop somewhere. So the other thing I want to talk about is the location. As I said, the ideal place, of course, is to have your own room, where that's your writing room, that's your office room. And then you want to declutter the whole room, not just your desk space and around your desk. Myself and a lot of people I know just have a corner of a room. In that case, you need to be cognizant of what else goes on in that room. And are there things in that room that happen, or that from other people that you might live with, or other things that you do in that room that are distracting? So you really want to look at that room and see what things in that room are distracting you and what things in that room are inspiring you, and adjust things accordingly, because the goal is to always bring that chi in to inspire you and to open up your writing chi as much as possible. If you work in your home, when you go in to work at your desk, change your clothes. Don't wear the same clothes that you cleaned your house that morning, or that you did other things in that morning. You went to the grocery store, whatever. When you come home, change your clothes. These are my writing clothes. You'll be surprised what a simple thing that is, but it kind of sets the motion to, oh, now I'm going to write. And a lot of people will have rituals like that, changing their clothes. These are my writing clothes. I get my cup of tea or my cup of coffee and set it beside my computer. They'll have these rituals, and that kind of gets the body ready to sit down to write. So determine, do you have rituals, and what rituals will help you to work better and stronger with that? Um, if you're outside the home and you've got your own office that isn't shared, and you know, make sure that all of the things around it also inspire you, just like in the home. But it's much easier to have your own separate office, I think, but I'm not lucky enough to do that. So I'm going to talk about the desk facing. Before I do that, I want to talk about light, because light is one of the critical factors. It's one of the strongest chis that we have in our life. So determining how much light you have in your space and the placement of the light. You want your desk, where you're sitting at your desk, the behind you to be a wall, a solid wall. And you can put pictures that inspire you on that wall or that you love behind you, but you want that to be a solid wall. If it's impossible to do that and you have to have a window behind you, fill it with plants. Fill the window ledge with plants or hanging plants. You can also let me see if I can pick it up with my one hand. A hanging crystal. This one is for creativity. I make and sell them. It has the white, which is the color of creativity, at the top, and you can hang this in the window to create rainbows. And rainbows will really help if you hang one of those in any window in your workspace to bring in those rainbows. When the light hits it, it will really help your chi to move. But you also have to be aware of getting curtains, because if it's behind you, when the light gets right, it will shine on your screen and put glare on your screen, so you can't easily work and put eye stress on you. So you need to have some lighter curtains that are thinner, so that you're not completely blocking out the light, but you're not getting the glare from the sun. You also want your desk to be facing where you can see a doorway, but not in line with the doorway, so that the chi from the door, whether the door's closed or open, isn't going to be hitting you directly, which will also bring too much chi and not balance chi into you. So you want to be able to see it. So as you're sitting at your desk, you can see the doorway easily, but you're not in line with that chi energy. So if you do get curtains for any of the windows that bring in too much light, a blue curtain, a light blue curtain, again, it needs to be thin so that you're still getting light, but a light blue curtain or a light blue shade will bring calmness in. A white curtain will bring in that creative energy. So you decide what works for the aesthetics of your space, and for the aesthetics of you, and for the aesthetics of your writing genre. So when I work with people that are horror writers, they have a whole different need for light than people that are writing memoirs, for example, or romance, or spiritual texts, novels, or whatever. So you have to align the amount of light that you have with your goals. As I said before, your writing purpose, motivation, your intention, the genre that you write from. If you have a room that has too many things that are you're working in another room that has too many things that are distracting, you can get, uh, what are they called? Room dividers, or screens that are beautiful, that you can kind of separate your space with them. You don't want them separating the space so much that they create a really dark little cave space, but you want them to create a divider. And if they're foldable, you can fold them away and then fold them out when you're working. So think about that and really examine your space and how you can get the chi in there to really work for you when you're sitting down to write. Um, The other thing is that really helps is music. Music is it touches our soul. It goes straight into our memory banks really strongly. So consider having. I advise people to use instrumental as opposed to songs with lyrics, because the lyrics can be distractive to you even unconsciously, to put things in your writing that you don't really want. But Baroque music is really good for your opening your mind. There's a lot of spiritual music that's on YouTube right now that you can get. A lot of the biodiurnal, which will tap into your theta brainwave state, which is will open up that creativity and that unconscious mind for you really strongly. So consider having that softly playing or something playing in the background. Again, if that's distracting for you, some people who are highly auditory, it's too distracting to have music. I'm highly visual and highly creative. So it does not bother me. It really assists me. So you have to decide if that works for you or doesn't work for you. Um, so have some decorative things around you, not too many. Don't have your desk cluttered up or your space cluttered up. But mirrors will work. Sometimes some wind chimes, especially the wooden ones. Crystals. Let's see. I brought some crystals that I have. I have on my desk this crystal. This is quartz crystal, and it will help a lot. I also advise that people have on their desk. I went to the dollar store and got this special. It doesn't match any of the other glasses in my house. When come to sit down, I fill it up with water and it just sits there. I don't drink it. I have my glass of water elsewhere, but this sits on my desk and it collects negativity as I'm working. And then at the end of the day, I pour it out. The next day, I fill it up again. So the water will collect the negativity and pour it out so that you can stay more balanced. Um, I also have fluorite. Fluorite is the only gemstone in the world that is known that it holds its energy. It doesn't, with quartz, you have to cleanse it regularly because it'll collect the negativity and then you have to cleanse it. With fluorite, it'll always stay where it is. Most of the fluorite I buy and get to sell is at a 3 or 4, sometimes a 5. Most of us are at a 4 right now. Some maybe if you've done a lot of spiritual work, you're at a 5. A few can are sometimes at a 6 level. I've raised all the fluorite to the 12th dimension so that it assists me to keep my vibration, my energy level as high as possible. This sits on my desk at all times. I also have an abundance bowl with some crystals in it. I've got pyrite, citrine, and citrine is the only one of the only gemstones that will transform negative energy to positive. And I have green aventurine. In the bottom of the bowl, I don't know if you can see it, I have pink Himalayan salt. And pink Himalayan salt, and I also have chunks of it. Pink Himalayan salt is an amazing healer to have around you, but it also absorbs the EMFs that we get from our computer and will eliminate them, and it absorbs smells, unhealthy smells or odors. So having this beside your computer is really, really important. I also have shungite, a little, I can see, you can see the little pyramid here. Shungite is 0 point energy, and that balances the energy to 0 point energy, which is considered the energy point of the universe, of God, creator, whatever you want to call it. And it is one of the best eliminators of EMFs. So I have these in front of my computer right here to help with the EMFs that hit me as I'm sitting here for hours working. It's important that you get up at least well, I'm on EMF, sorry. This one's an old one I've had for a long time. This is to help with EMF leakage from you plug it into your outlet. When I go in to do consult in houses, 98% of the houses have leakage, whether they're new houses or old houses, they've just been built through their outlets in house. Having one of these in my workspace and then I have one in my bedroom helps to eliminate the EMF leakage from my house, and helps me stay healthier and stronger as I'm working. So this one gets plugged in. I have an outlet right behind me where I'm sitting so that I can eliminate that. Health, again, I can't stress how important health is as you're working. Um, let's see, what have I missed here? The other thing is your chair, where you sit. If you already have an ergonomic chair, yay! If you can buy an ergonomic chair, yay! They can be very expensive, but they're critical for how many hours we're sitting here working. Um, so getting an ergonomic chair will really increase your chi and help you to sit straight and your spine be straight so the chi can move easily through your body. This is an older chair and it's not so ergonomic anymore. I did buy online for not too expensive some ergonomic chair seats and backrests that improve when I sit in any other chair. This one's still okay. Your chair also should be comfortable. It should be adjustable for height. You want it to come as high as possible up to your neck and your head, which creates more balance and more chi going up into your up through your centers. Uh, you do not want a gap between the seat back and the chair seat. You want it to be continuous. So if you do have a gap in your chair, you can solve that by having the ergonomic chair back or other ways. So making sure that that chair is good for you, at least if you can't get a tall one, at least to your shoulders. Have it at least to your shoulders. The other thing I have on my seat is a really thin but soft red cushion to sit on, and that's considered a power position in Feng Shui, and a command position, if you will. So I put that on at my seat. Make sure for ergonomics that you're sitting high enough that your arm is at a 45-degree angle as you're typing. You don't want to be typing with your hands up too high, and you don't want them too low as you type. You want them at that 90-degree angle. If you're working on a laptop, purchase a riser. You want what you're looking at to be eye level so that your head's not down here. As soon as you bend your head to come down and look at your screen, you've interrupted the chi flow. So you, whoops, ignore it. Sorry, I forgot to turn it off. I'm sorry. It's music, it's background music. So make sure that you're positioned correctly as you work. And every 30 minutes, stop what you're doing and look around. Take your eyes off your screen and look around. I have a focal point just to my right there that is something that's beautiful, that inspires me, that I can take a breath and then focus over there. It's just seconds. And then I come back to my writing. And that will help if I've gotten stuck, my chi's gotten stuck at all, to realign me. I also purchased a timer, not a kitchen timer that has this annoying ring, but tinkle ring. I set it for every hour, and every hour I stand up and stretch. Again, the purpose is to get my chi moving and get myself moving, and I will also do sometimes some breathing exercises to make sure I'm taking care of my physical body, my emotional body, so that my writing can be as strong and powerful as possible. So decorative things that you can get are mirrors, chimes, fountains. Fountains are really good because they're moving water, which is chi, and fountains and water is about career, and it's also about abundance. So they help a lot. Crystals, of course. So those things are things that you can buy. Statues, especially ones that inspire you for your genre and your intentions. If they're clay or wood carved, are really, really good. So the five elements are of feng shui are earth, wood, metal, water, and fire. As a writer, we want to keep our writing space in the yang. We don't want to have too much fire, and we don't want to have too much metal. It's okay to have a little bit of it, but if you have too much silver color, you have too much actual metal, it can be distracting and cutting to your work. If you have too much fire, it can over inspire you. You're going for balance and harmony to support your work. So having the fire element is fine, but make sure you don't have too much of it and it's not predominant. Earth and wood are really important, and having as many healthy plants around you, which is the wood element, flowers or wood element, and the soil that it's in obviously is earth. Having them in pottery plants or pottery rather than glass or metal. Glass is okay, but metal, don't pot it in a metal pot. Try to pot it in ceramic or earthen pots. I do have a free download on my website of indoor plants that increase the oxygen output. That's the most beneficial thing about plants. It's about prosperity on my website, but it's also about health. So you can download that with different plants that you can buy and have around you to increase the oxygen level in your house. I think it's called indoor plants that attract prosperity and abundance, but it's also about health. Okay, we talked about light, but I also want to talk about the heat level. Making sure that your space is not too cold for your particular temperature body needs and not too hot. So doing whatever you need to do. I know we're coming up on a heat wave here. Most of America and Canada is coming into a heat wave. So making sure that you've got what you need to stay comfortable in your writing space. Also, always staying hydrated no matter what. When you're tapping into your creativity, you want to stay ultra hydrated to make sure that you don't start to get blocked. The other thing that I want to mention that I think I forgot is the other benefit of pink Himalayan salt. And you can go to the grocery store and get pink Himalayan bath salts. Get a whole bunch of them. If you have a whole bunch of it, if you have indoor or wall-to-wall carpet, it is one of the biggest polluters of toxins in our world. Um, it First of all, if it's wool, it's less polluting, but if it's not wool, if it's nylon, the backing on it is always really toxic. And wall-to-wall carpet continues to emit those toxins into the air. They also trap dirt, dust, and mold under there, no matter how clean a person you are. If you've ever pulled up wall-to-wall carpet and seen, I'm an ultra clean person. People tell me I'm too clean. I was shocked how filthy it was under there, and I kept it really clean. I thought, if you can have wood floors and area carpets that you can turn over and vacuum on both sides that won't collect that, and have them be wool. But if you have wall-to-wall carpet, one of the things you can do to eliminate those and you have to do it regularly because they don't go away completely, but you can mitigate it, is to get the bath salts and spread it all over the carpet as evenly as possible, and then 12 hours later come and vacuum it up. Um, Pink Himalayan salt absorbs odors and toxins and all kinds of things. So that will help keep your space healthier and cleaner. Um, Color. So I've already talked about not having too much fire element and too much metal element. So not too much red color or silver color. White is good because that's the color of feng shui for creativity. And I think I'm running out of time. How am I doing? I've been talking really fast. How am I doing?
I think I've had the most questions I've ever had for a speaker with you. So I think we might need to move into questions and then
Yeah,
people can get some
that's
of their specific things in there.
that's what I'm feeling. So,
Yeah.
into questions.
Oh, we might just have to have you back. Sandra, this has been excellent. And I just said that for anyone that needed to leave after the half hour that they were just here for the speaker, I will be posting this on YouTube. So please put up your hands for questions, either, this, and I'll be watching there. One of the questions I had is that when you were talking about the shungite and the crystals in front of your computer, I kind of have them sitting on the pedestal behind. And on the iMac, it's got all that silver, so maybe that's too much metal. But I have shungite and citrine and some pyramid crystals and stuff, but they're kind of underneath, like they're not between me and the computer. So is that the wrong placement?
Yeah, I'm just going to grab something. Yeah, they need to be in front of the computer, and I also have an iMac which has silver, so don't worry about that. I just don't add extra silver.
Okay.
But yeah, they need to be in front of the computer because you're being bombarded this way. I
Okay.
can't put my shungite necklaces on. I've got bruises all over me. I'm
Oh.
sorry. But I do usually, when I'm working, if I'm going to be working for hours, I will put this on
Hmm.
to protect my body. I also will sometimes, if I'm only going to be on the computer for 3 or 4 hours, I'll wear my fluorite pendant, which will help to keep my energy. But you want it where the energy is coming across. So you want it where your television is. You want these little pyramids in front of your TV so that they don't point at you.
Right. And some people are asking about where they can find your resources. So if you can please send me
Oh,
the
sorry.
links, I'll make sure.
It's
If it's difficult for you to paste in, I
oh,
won't, but also I want to put them in the chat transcript that I sent to everybody who's
yeah,
attended, and I'll send it out to everyone that's just coming for your talk. But if we
yeah.
put it in the chat, if it's easy for you to put in the chat, that's wonderful.
Yeah,
And
it's sandrajeffs.com.
okay, perfect. That's very easy, everyone. SandraJeffs.com.
I
I'll
will
make
put it in
sure
the
that's also
comments.
in the chat too. I'll put it in for you, Sandra. That's
Okay,
good.
thanks.
So who else has got a question? I'm sure there's some questions here.
Can I ask a question?
Mhm.
Thank you so much. This was so amazing. I've been studying Feng Shui for a little bit over a year now, and I was curious. Yeah, I love it so much. And yes, it's a science. It's so much deeper than what most people think. And I have a question. You mentioned that not to have metal. So I'm curious because I'm a water element, and to me, like metal helps me. So where would you kind of draw the line between it supporting you and what you're saying that it could be, um, I think what word did you say? I think you said it's I
Too
forget.
too much. Um, I have metal around me.
Mhm.
You just don't want too much metal. So if you're working at a metal desk and you have an iMac, which is metal and silver, and you have metal everywhere around you, that's too much. And feng shui is always about balance. And in the creative process, the feng shui is the metal, that's the cutting. We don't want too much of it as writers, especially. So we want a balance of, and if you can't get rid of some of the metal that you have, add one of the other elements more
Yeah.
so that you balance that out. So it's just looking at the balance that you have, and again, what works for you. I am very air, and so I'm not a much water element. So each person has to be in touch with their intentions and who they are and what works for them, not follow some guidelines blindly, but what works for you as a writer, what's going to inspire you more.
Thank you.
Oh. All right, so I think Ambika answered one question for you. Glass is made from silicon, therefore it's earth. That. And
Yeah.
if I'm a metal rat on the Chinese astrology, does that mean that I'm a metal person, like what Sandoval was asking?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not completely.
All
Yeah.
right. I had a question before Virginia's there. Is the diffuser? I have a diffuser, and so that's
Oh,
like moving
good.
modern mist. Is that great? And it's a little bamboo like one that
Yes,
that
yes, yes. I forgot to mention that. Yes. Having natural smells, it's important not to have the diffusers that they say are so wonderful that you plug in and they nonstop, you know, diffuse your area with chemicals.
uh,
But using essential oils in a diffuser or using incense that is pleasing to you, making sure it's pleasing to you because smell is a huge factor. Yes.
okay, thank you for that. I'm going to look at what essential oils are might be best. Virginia, go ahead with your question on mute.
How do I tell which element I am? Like, is there somewhere I can go and discover that?
Well, your astrology. So the astrology, though, has air, earth, fire, and water. If your Chinese astrology, as Rusty indicated, is the year that you're born, and it can have a metal element in it. So,
I
it,
think I'm a tagger,
but a
1950.
fighter can be different elements also.
Yeah.
But it really isn't as important to know that. It's more important to connect with your own energy and what works for you, what feels right. What I want to advise people to do is take away 3 things to do. Analyze how you write and what you need for your writing, do your decluttering, and then make sure that your desk and chair are facing right. Those are the 3 things I want you to take away. And do those 3 things, adjust things, and then see how you feel. And then you can add 3 more and add 3 more. But I don't advise people to go whole hog and spend hours and hours and hours doing this. Just do 3. It's a
Mhm.
wonderful number.
I love the number 3 for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Virginia, I'm sure the master astrologer in the group would help you figure out your element.
Yeah.
Okay, so then maybe this question might serve others too, is that I now have a desk facing the wall, and right beside me is the doorway to the other side of the sea container. I'm in a metal box in a metal sea container in a small home. That might not apply to everyone, but my desk is sitting so that my desk is here and the doorway is here, right? I can put my hand through the doorway.
That's not an ideal position for it because the chi from the doorway is going to hit your side while you're writing and over energize you. So if you can't move your desk,
I have a curtain.
okay, definitely put a crystal there because
Okay.
the crystal, the hanging crystal will help to mitigate that energy and send the energy in all directions because these are faceted and they will send the energy in different directions. So they really help. They should be hung on a
Red ribbon.
red
So for
string.
everybody that has a desk too close to a door, a red ribbon and a crystal. Thank you for
If
that.
the door energy is directly hitting you, that's in the wrong direction. If you can't move, you have to cure it some way. And the curtain definitely helps a lot.
Okay, that's awesome. All right. Other questions before I move on to one of my other ones? Because I've never had so many questions. Pop off your mic and ask your questions.
Okay.
Esther?
I'm sitting facing my wall, and there's a wall behind me, and I can't put my desk facing that. But as you see, there's a closet door, but it's got a white curtain. And then just back there is the doorway.
Okay, so the closet's not going to be a problem. And I noticed you had the white curtain, and that's really helpful because but the closet doesn't bring energy. It's not a thoroughfare.
Right.
Bring the chi in. So the closet's not a problem. That back door is hitting your back. It looks like your back right shoulder. Is that right?
Yeah, it's yes, it's off on a half 45-degree angle from my shoulder.
Yeah, so you definitely, the best thing for that is a crystal. It doesn't look like you can put a plant there to mitigate the energy.
I have a plant over there.
Yeah, but you put a plant there by your back? You can't, because it's going to inhibit the flow around your desk. You want to
Okay.
flow around your desk also.
Okay.
So the best thing would, again, to get that crystal to disperse the energy around so it's not hitting you so strongly.
Okay.
What
And
about a screen? Could she use a screen?
use a screen, but close that door when she's working also.
Okay.
So if you've got a door on that,
Yeah.
close it when you come in. And that's a good idea for offices in general, is to close the door, especially if you have family members that you live with, because it indicates to them, I'm working, leave me alone. So close the door when you go in and get a crystal to hang there. And these are for sale on my website. So
Thank you.
Wonderful. All right. So the point, when you said the Shungite, the eliminator, the 0 point energy God creator, I wanted to hear just a touch more about that, especially if other people do. Hands, anybody? Yes. Oh,
yeah, there are seven seven gemstones in the world that are 0 point, and most of them cost thousands of dollars per gram. Shungite is the least expensive, and it's not going to be available for a long time. Most of the Shungite, 90% of it comes from Russia, and we're no longer trading with Russia. So if you get the chance to buy some Shungite, buy it before the price goes up sky high, or you can't find it at all.
yeah. My
Um,
there.
0 point, oh, great. 0 point energy is not negative or positive. And almost everything we have, I mentioned this, is positive energy, and I've raised it way high. If you've got a crystal, as it collects too much negative energy, it goes below zero. Shungite stays at 0 point energy the whole time, and that's considered the creative force of the universe, what created the universe.
Oh, okay. Thank you for that. The God creator. Oh, love that. All right. Let's just see if I have another question that might have popped up for somebody else. Okay, I've asked about the doorway, the abundance bowl, citrine. I love that when you're talking about, I never thought about putting the salts or whatever underneath it. And I have a little jar of little rocks that are special to me. So now I want to put some pink Himalayan sea salt in the bottom of them.
Yeah, you can just go to the grocery store at the, what is it
Yeah.
called, the bins, and find it,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
get someone put it underneath it. I do sell these also.
Yeah.
I
I've
sell
heard from
them.
body workers that they will sit on a pillow that has some pink Himalayan sea salt in it to absorb some of the negative energy from the body work that they do. So
Yeah, mine is specifically, these rocks are specifically the three top ones for abundance, because as writers, I want to write, but I want to sell my work and make money off of it. So,
right.
and the other thing I didn't mention is the color purple, having something purple on or around your desk. It can be, I have it behind me in the picture, that has meaning for me, and was made by somebody named Sandy. So I thought it was appropriate. But purple is the color of abundance in Feng Shui. So having something purple on or around your desk that inspires you.
Esther, is that painting behind you got some purple in it? I'm not quite sure if I can
It
see.
is purple. My head's in the way.
Love.
It
It
is
is.
Yeah. And
purple and blue.
Esther also has a painting behind. I think that might have
Yeah,
some purple
I
in it.
bought it when
And the chairs.
Ah, okay, awesome. So the three top are the citrine, and what are the two others?
Pyrite and green adventuring.
Green aventurine. I think, well, I know I have pyrite. I know I have
I
citrine.
have these bowls already for sale with the bowl, and
Oh, wonderful.
oh,
All right. Well,
Can I ask a question?
go ahead. Yes.
So you can see my window behind, and I keep it closed just because I know I've got the light in front of me to have it be more aesthetic. But you said not to really have. I mean, I kind of have a wall, but I have a window behind. So what would you recommend?
the wall with the books is fantastic. I noticed that you have a lot of stones there. That's fantastic. Get a couple of plants there too,
Okay.
or a hanging plant. But yes, keeping it closed is really wonderful, but it looks like your space is really well lighted anyway without it. But get a hanging plant
Okay.
to go over, or get plants to go on the windowsill. Bamboo is a really wonderful plant. You can get the spiral abundance bamboo, and that works on the abundance level, but it really takes very little care, and the light doesn't matter one way or the other with it. So yeah, having a bamboo small plant somewhere on your desk or near you is really wonderful.
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
Mhm.
All right. Any last questions? I'll do a countdown. Going once, going twice. Ruth.
Yeah, Sandra, thank you so much for that. I loved it. I made loads of notes. So most useful. My question is regarding the chair. Now, I'm in a temporary position at the moment, which is actually kind of drawing. Well, yeah, it's a large room in an apartment. I'd like to move it to my spare room, which is full of clutter at the moment, but that's another subject. But my question was, do you have to have a chair with a back, or you were talking about ergonomic chairs? I was thinking of getting one of those kneeling chairs where there's no back, but because you're in the position with your knees resting on the pads, your spine is aligned. Are those any good or not?
They are good if you've got back problems. As far as feng shui, and what the chair with the full back helps you with is any chi. There's something called cutting chi or other chi that's negative hitting you in the back. And so having that not only support, but having that against, your back helps you from getting negativity on your back. Your spine and your chakras are really important for keeping that chi moving and going. So I would say if you use the kneeling chair because of back problems, that's, so. It's better to have an ergonomic chair with a high back on it, as from a feng shui perspective. Again, I don't like solid rules. I think everybody is an individual, and you have to choose what's right for you and not what's right for everybody else. But if you want it, try it. And if you find, try them both. Try sitting in an ergonomic chair and working for a month, and then try the kneeling chair and see which works best for you, if you can.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay.
Virginia.
I just wanted to ask, you said there shouldn't be a space between your back and your seat, and my chair has that. Can I just roll up a blanket and put it there or something?
Yeah, but if it has that, there are those mesh things that you can get that you can cover or put a pillow there. The ergonomic seat cushion and seat back work really well for covering up. My chair has that I make jewelry and sell it, and so that chair has that bad back. So I bought that ergonomic seat cushion for that chair, and it covers the back up. So those mesh chairs are not really good for you. You want a solid chair, not the mesh chairs.
Oh,
You'll
I
mess.
love the mesh because it allows the air through.
Yeah, yeah, but they also allow negative chi through. And
Mm.
as writers, we want our chi moving. That's the goal, is to be harmonious and energized when we sit down. And I even say, my goal is to be clear of mind, energized and comfortable as I do this work.
Mhm.
So I can be in service to the world with what I write.
Okay, and I have a window right here. So I had the blind down a little bit. I shouldn't have a window right here, should I?
You sometimes can't change things if you can move the desk so that you're not blinded by it. But the other thing is to put the blind down like you did. As long as it's not glaring, and certain times during the day, I don't need to use a blind, and certain times during the day, I need the blind. So, yeah. So
Okay.
use the appropriate, but having a blind will eliminate that.
Mhm.
And again, the crystals always work, and the
Yes. We're going to
plants.
make crystals on our windows.
Plants.
And plants.
Plants are wonderful.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Oh, Sandra, this was amazing. I'm going to go. Any last questions pop up? Going once, going twice, 3 times. Dorothy, go.
I just, I know this is a silly question, but I love burgundy. Is it close enough to purple to count?
No. But if you
I
love
can't
burgundy,
purple boob.
if you love burgundy, do it. Again, you have to have the space that speaks to your personality and who you are. Just don't overdo it. And have a burgundy cushion to sit on instead of a red cushion. Burgundy is really red. But have a burgundy cushion to sit on and have something else in burgundy on the wall in front of you or that inspires you that's burgundy. Yeah.
That's okay. I like purple too. It just happens to be that my family room is half burgundy. A lot of furniture. I have a lot of burgundy. So
Is that where you write, in your family room?
no.
Oh, okay. I'm talking about your writing space. But
If
you love burgundy, have it in your writing space because that's really important to acknowledge who you are as a human being. Don't just say, oh, she said I can't have that. No. You got to be you, and that will move your chi and get your chi going. So just don't have a ton of it.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you. Okay. Going once, question. Going twice. Going 3 times. 4, 5. Sandra, you are amazing. You are absolutely correct that you could talk about this in your sleep, considering that you just had surgery a few days ago. Yes, jazz hands for Sandra. Surgery a few days ago, and I know how general anesthetic does a whomp to the body, but you are stellar. And I had so many questions and you answered them all, and I'm so pleased with the clutter that I had on my desk before. I've been working really hard to keep it off because I moved recently. And I have these really neat little drawers in my IKEA table that in a small space has these drawers. And I've managed to put some things that I had on my desk in a drawer. And I go open the drawer when I want one of them. And so they're out of sight. And I'm super excited that I've been working hard at that. And I am super
That
grateful.
reminds me. I
Pardon
need to
me?
say one thing.
Okay, go.
I forgot to say, IKEA tables are usually made from pressed wood. And pressed wood is sawdust and glue and toxins, and they will eliminate toxins. They will emit toxins constantly through your life. So don't use you want to use solid wood.
Yes.
And you want solid wood with rounded corners, not pointed corners.
Ooh, well, I just rounded.
So, when I was overseas, the IKEA was the thing, and I resisted getting it because it's really not good for our health.
Well, this IKEA table
Sorry.
is pine. It is pine, so I'm good there. I love pine. I love pine furniture. And just to share with everyone that I once was paid $1,700 for a poem. A Holland advertising agency contacted me and some other poets. We competed. I told them that I can work on deadline as a professional writer. I would give them 3 revisions to, on whatever I gave them, and then it would be done. And they chose me based on that. And with that $1,700, I had a custom made desk made and a custom made printer stand out of solid wood. And when you said rounded corners, and I never knew about that at the time, I went, yes, it has a little bit of rounded. It's not like corner, but it's a little bit rounded, and the edges are rounded, like you rounded them nice. So okay, back to exclaiming how wonderful you are. And I'm so grateful that you are our speaker this weekend. And I'm so grateful that some people popped in to hear you and give you the audience that you and your expertise deserve. So jazz hands again for Sandra. Thank you so very much. And
thank you, Sandra.
Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you. Thank you.
Wonderful.